Hey everyone, it's Janella and welcome back to my channel. So just a couple of weeks back, my family and I flew from the Philippines to Hong Kong and I took some snippets of our journey. So if you're curious as to how traveling is like, especially during a pandemic, stay tuned to find out.
So it is currently 8:30 in the morning and we just arrived at the airport. Right after the X-ray area, the airport staff asked us to proceed directly to our check-in counter. They do limit the number of passengers who can enter, although once you do get in, I observed they weren't that strict with social distancing while waiting in line. At the check-in counter, they first asked for our COVID test. This is crucial as one passenger was not allowed to fly since he took the test too early, so his test was not in the 72-hour window before his flight. They also checked for our hotel booking as well as identification cards or visas, as Hong Kong only accepts entry of residents and those with working visas. Everyone in our family also wore PPEs. After ensuring all requirements are met, we then proceed directly to the immigration area. Only a few airline lounge areas were open and some restaurants were still open for takeout orders. Half of the chairs at the boarding gate were covered to ensure people followed social distancing. Once we boarded the aircraft, they gave us a travel kit which contained the mask and towelette. They also gave us a small bag of snacks and water. There were no in-flight meals served during the whole duration of the flight.
Two hours later.
Time check, it is now 12:30 in the afternoon and we just arrived Hong Kong International Airport. We then proceed directly to the arrival hall area, but before that we had to follow some procedures imposed due to Covid-19. Some of these procedures included downloading the Stay Home Safe app and filling up the health declaration form online. I do recommend that you do this ahead to save time. Then we took the train to the arrival hall. We were the only ones left as we took our time to avoid overcrowding with the rest of the remaining passengers. Upon arrival, we immediately proceeded to the next screening process, which is the COVID test, as we already have completed our health declaration forms. Some parts of the airport were turned into testing areas for arriving passengers and crew members. All restaurants were also closed as well. Next is the second screening where they each provided us with a wristband. Together with the app, it'll help track our stay during the quarantine period.
So after they placed our wristbands. So we were semi-interviewed in a way. So they asked for different documents such as our negative swab test result, hotel confirmation. So I'll also be inserting a photo down below just so I don't miss any of the requirements that they did ask. So during this time, we were also hoping that we could do quarantine at home, although since Philippines is classified as a high-risk country, we weren't allowed, so we had to quarantine for 14 days in our respective hotel. But good thing though, since we also did book our hotel reservation prior to our arrival in Hong Kong. Then they give us an envelope with a booklet and a paper. So the booklet contains information that we'll have to fill up once we start our quarantine period. So it would require us to check our daily temperature every day and to take note of the date. And also a piece of paper wherein we have to take note of the details of the transportation, like the plate number, the name of the cab driver that we're going to be using later on once we leave the airport. Also, it contains other different protocols and measures that we'd have to follow once we do the 14-day quarantine period. So after the second screening, after ensuring that we've met all the travel requirements that are necessary, we then proceed directly to the COVID-19 exam screening. So they conducted 2 deep throat saliva tests and we were all separated in a cubicle while collecting our own samples. So it was all very easy as it was, I think per cubicle they made available like posters on the wall on how to properly collect the said samples. And also they provided us with different QR codes wherein we'd have to scan and a video was readily made available for us to watch for us to be able to collect our samples correctly.
After all the tests were collected, we were guided to the boarding gate turned waiting area where we are welcomed with a table of snacks. This will be available for us throughout our whole wait. Waiting area was divided into sections. It was designated per flight number and each passenger was assigned a seat. All seats were arranged to practice social distancing as well. Time check, it is now 6 p.m. and we've been waiting for 3 hours already for our results to arrive. Good thing, we also brought some packed rice meals which help us throughout our waiting time. By the way, they also provided us with an ID lanyard containing our flight information and the side seat number for the waiting area.
8 hours later.
From time to time, we also go back to the snack area to get some biscuits, sandwiches, or water.
One eternity later.
Time check, it is now 10:30 p.m. and after 7.5 hours of waiting, we finally received our results. Note that if you do test positive, you'll be transferred to a government quarantine facility. Afterwards, we proceeded to the arrival hall for the immigration and to claim our bags. Finally, we were on the way to our hotel. Remember that it is your responsibility to take note of the driver's information, so you may fill out the forms provided earlier. It is now 12 midnight and we have finally arrived at our hotel. Once we reached our hotel room, we opened the Stay Home Safe app and scanned the QR code from our wristband. We then walk around the room for 60 seconds until it has successfully been activated.
So to wrap it all up, our whole journey was pretty pleasant. So we spent a total of 14 hours from departing Philippines and arriving and leaving Hong Kong International Airport. So I think the hardest part was just during the waiting of our test results, since it took us, I think, roughly 8 hours to wait for our test results, and we were the last ones. Our flight was the last ones to leave the airport. So I think that was just the hardest part, since only snacks were provided. But good thing, since our family brought back lunch. So a friendly reminder to always wear your mask. Also, during the whole duration of our flight, we also didn't use the cubicle, and always practice social distancing. So if you guys are gonna be traveling back home, I hope I gave you guys a rough idea on what to expect and the protocols that are needed to follow. Also, I'll see you guys in the next vlog. Take care always and stay safe, everyone.